All right, guys, let's get this done.
Is there an advantage or disadvantage to facing and scouting a team you've already played?
Probably both. I mean, I think both teams now, have a little more familiarity, just hands-on experience. So you kind of have an idea what worked for you, what didn't work, and your opponent does as well. So, yeah, I mean, I think the more times you play somebody, the more comfortable you get, and you understand these are good programs, good coaches, and most good programs, good coaches kind of do things a certain way over an extended period of time. So I think you just get a little more comfortable as you play against them.
Is the scout based equally on the game you played against them as well as the last?
Yeah, I mean,
game
it's all included. I mean, you're watching your last game. You're watching their recent games. And your team, it might have changed as well over the course of its games. You might be running a few different things here and there. So I think it's all included.
You look at a guy like JT Toppin, and he was really able to do a lot of things with that lefty hook shot. Can you replicate that? I don't even know if you have any lefties on your team that can replicate that in practice.
Big Shimmy gets out there and practice a little bit here. He can give us a few reps, but I mean, no, it's tough. It's tough to. I mean, you're usually it's going to be hard to simulate the other team's best players, because they're the best players for a reason and they're playing for a reason. And the guys that aren't playing as much or on the your green squad or your practice team, whatever you want to call it, usually aren't quite as good. So it's tough to simulate. But he's obviously a very good player, very talented. He was great that day, and he's one of the more impactful bigs in the country. I mean, he's played really, really well this season.
You guys are a lot different than you were in that game in Lubbock, where they
not necessarily. I mean, we just that game. Hey, we played in a tougher environment, and it's kind of a game where maybe neither team felt like they played great, and they kind of were able to kind of control the game in the second half with a little bit of a lead, and we tried to hang in there, and we did hang in there, and the last 4 minutes or so, it got away from us a little bit. So I necessarily don't think like we're a drastically different team. I mean, hopefully we're a better team. I mean, it's been a few weeks, and we've had a lot of experiences and a lot of opportunities to practice our habits. So hopefully we've gotten a little bit better since then.
Was there any learning experience in particular from that game that you carry forward, because you guys haven't lost since then, obviously?
I mean, nothing I can pinpoint, in particular that because this happened at Texas Tech that night, we're doing this now. I mean, nothing like that. No.
Do you think you're a better finishing team lately?
What do you mean?
You had that stretch where maybe you'd have the large lead in the second half and then it would get smaller, but they've kind of extended in these last handful of games.
Yeah, I mean, you hope so. I mean, you hope you've gotten a little bit better there. You hope you're playing a little more settled, in some of those, middle of the second half type games. That's an important time. Hopefully, but I'm sure, it'll be tested again, and you got to deliver. You got to deliver in those moments, and if the gap does get closed, now you end up in a possession by possession battle the last 4 minutes of a game, and you got to be able to navigate that as well. So there's lots of ways to win, and you try to be as good at it as many ways as possible.
You've mentioned a couple times throughout the season that basketball's an emotional sport. Emotions run high. So going up against the one team that you've lost to in the Big 12, how are you keeping those emotions grounded?
I mean, I think our guys are, locked into that. I mean, it's obviously, there's moments, where that gets tested on the court, but, I haven't thought, that there's no hate for Texas Tech or anything like that. I mean, this is the next team on our opponent in an important game and a 20-game conference schedule, and they happened to get the best of us last time, and hopefully we can make a few adjustments and find a way to turn the tide this game.
Payton obviously scored all of his points in the second half at BYU. Was there something you said to him at halftime to push that button for him to play a little bit more aggressively?
Nope. He's just a good player. And just, the game kind of provided some opportunities for him, and he took advantage of them. And I thought he did a heck of a job managing that game, the first and the second half. I just thought he did a great job. And, good players have an understanding to how to serve the game. And when the game asks them to do something, they take advantage of their opportunity and they deliver.
Henry, that game at Texas Tech, he had a good run and then had an off game there at Texas Tech. I don't know if they, pushed him around too much or what happened, but since then he's been generally pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they played well against him, and so we're gonna have to figure it out if that's Henry or that's them or a combination of both, you know. So Henry's been good. He's obviously he's having a nice year for us, you know. But again, you just because you're having a nice year doesn't mean Saturday night at 8:30 it's going to continue that way. You got to go out and earn it every single time.
How valuable has the bench been for you this year compared to maybe previous years?
I mean, I think our bench has always been pretty good. I think we've always been able to bring, answers and solutions off the bench, and, maybe some years a little bit better than others, but, our bench is really important to me, and it's something I really value, as you get in these games and you're trying to, figure out what's working, what's not working, what gives you the best opportunity to win, you give guys opportunities and you watch them play, and then you make kind of decisions on maybe, how you're going to sub or lineups you're going to play in the second half based off of, live action in that game. So I think all of those guys off the bench have had incredible moments and been, for the most part, really consistent.
Do you think they serve better as coming off the bench than being in the starting lineup?
I mean, honestly, I have not put 1 ounce of thought into that. I mean, I like where we're at. I like the options they're giving us. I honestly haven't thought, one thing, whether I should make an adjustment or not on that now. I think we're pretty settled into where we're at.
Look at that 7-minute stretch that they went without scoring. Obviously, they missed a lot of shots there, Tommy, but what did you like about the way your defense was cutting off driving lanes, not allowing them to get in where they could drive and
Are you
kick?
talking BYU?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought our guys did a good job being really attentive, defensively. I think we had our pressure applied in the right areas. We were supporting in the right areas. And, I just felt like they didn't have a lot of great rhythm looks. And they're a team, that likes to run sets to create shots off those sets. And I felt like we kind of just knocked them off course a little bit. And then, the most important thing at the end is we rebounded the ball. And, if you rebound the ball, I mean, now you have a chance to, go get transition offense and kind of and make some runs. So, I thought our guys did a great job executing the game plan. And for the most part, I think, for the last, month or so, they've been doing a really good job defensively.
Kelvin Sampson had an interesting quote for Houston the other day where he said the thing they need more than anything this time of season is rest. Because of the grueling Big 12 schedule. Are you kind of the same mentality that, the schedule is just grueling?
Yeah, I mean, Kelvin's been through the Big 12, 1 year more than I have. So, he has more experience than me with that and overall as a coach. But, yeah, I mean, I think you have to factor that stuff in. You have to make sure that your guys are, physically in a good place and mentally and emotionally in a good place as well. I love how the schedule's been set up, and I love all the challenges it's presented. It's actually been a lot of fun, But we want to keep our mind on it. But hey, we're still to the point of the season where there are obviously still things to work on, and maybe you work on them differently than you did early in the year. You're probably not scrimmaging as much in practice, not getting up and down, maybe not as much full contact, things like that. But you still got to practice basketball to prepare for basketball games. So so we're still have a little bit of a practice mindset, but also understanding that you have to have the bigger picture in mind too.
Evaluate Delhi's game against BYU from the standpoint, obviously he wasn't able to make shots, but he still was able to facilitate for you and create.
Yeah, I mean, Delhi's, he's finding his way. He's finding his way. He has moments where, you feel like he's really broken through, and he has moments where he's had some struggles. I mean, that's part of it. We're hanging with him. That's what we do. We're hanging with him, and hey, I always feel like the next shot Delhi shoots is going in. And, I know, maybe he's had some challenges on the defensive end here and there, but I don't think he's running away from those either. So, we're going to continue to try to put him in position to be successful. And we have faith at the end of the day that's going to pay off for him and for us.
How about, Grant pretty well and that team. They didn't have quite as high expectations, I think, as you guys, but here you are, both you guys right in the mix in this conference right now. Is it surprising at all a little bit?
No. I mean, I don't pay any mind to, your guys' expectations to start out the year. I know this. That guy's won a lot of games, and he's won everywhere he's been. So, I'm going to bet on that before I bet on your guys' guessing. I'm going to bet on his resume. And, I feel like we've been successful as well. And, You know, we did this, the preseason stuff's for magazines and, you know, whatever. I guess our internet clicks now. And I don't read magazines much, and I'm not on the internet, so I wouldn't know who said this about what or that.
Have you had any talks with Grant since the game in Lubbock, or, you know?
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
for sure, we've talked. We've talked.
Just curious if you mentioned anything about this game tomorrow and, you know, what.
See you tomorrow at the game. That's all that's been mentioned.
What have you seen from them since the game that has continued their streak?
Just that they're probably the most disciplined team in the conference. You know, they don't make mistakes. You know, and they're really sound, and they're very deliberate in what they do and organized. And you know, so when you have a team that has discipline, doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and you know gets to the things they want to, they're going to give themselves a chance to win on a night-to-night basis, and that's what they've been doing.
Can you give us, in terms of Trey hit his head and Toby got poked in the eye?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're business as usual. I mean, as far as I know, you know, I don't think there's, you know, anything that's come out of that at all.
The replay of Toppin's kick and what got him ejected the other game.
Yeah, but I listen. I'm in no position to comment on anything that's has nothing to do with our games. So.
I was just curious your thoughts, because Grant actually said after, he said maybe we should ask Patrick Mahomes, because he caught with his right and he was switching to left to shoot a left.
Hey, I'm not commenting on other games. I'm not commenting on referee situations in other games. It's not my territory.
When you talk about how Texas Tech is the most disciplined team in the conference, I mean, what would you say is a key factor into taking down a disciplined team like that?
Having great habits, you know, and you obviously got to match your discipline, and you can't make a bunch of mistakes yourself. You know, I mean, I think that would be, you know, that would be it. Just your discipline has to match their level of discipline, and you know, and that's really the only way.
All set? You got a pick for Sunday's Super Bowl?
Who's playing?
Chiefs and Eagles?
I don't know. I'll let Murph and Evan Manning on our staff. They'll battle that out. I think we have an Eagles fan, and then we have a Chiefs fan. I'll let those two battle it out. I'm just going to focus on the Red Raiders.
Party or anything for the guys? Or
8:30 tomorrow night. No question. We will be. We'll practice Sunday before the Super Bowl. Trust me. So, yep. Enjoy, guys.